Chapter 663. Who are you? 5. After the few Yunshao sect disciples died, they turned into bloody fog and were absorbed by Ning Luo's sword. At this moment, the Yunshao sect wardens and disciples who rushed over were all killed by the demonic Buddha statue. Almost all the remaining forces were from the Nine Knights dynasty. Once the remaining Yunshao sect forces saw Ning Luo's actions, they did not dare to go near him and stayed clear of him. Since they could become high-ranking executives and disciples of a super sect, they were no fools. They could analyze the situation before them very quickly, and many people from Yunshao's sect began to suspect if Ning Luo was that mysterious black-robed person or if he was in the same gang as him. Run! Enchanting reminded after glancing at the forces from Falling Sky Valley and other forces from the Nine Knights dynasty behind her. The more people Ning Luo killed, the faster the Ice Frost Divine Sword in his hand resurrected. Once the Ice Frost Divine Sword was completely awakened, the dimension wall protecting this mainland would probably be destroyed by the Ice Frost Divine Sword. By then, the consequences would be unthinkable. Run! A certain warden from Falling Sky Valley returned to his senses and shouted. Then, he fled in the other direction immediately. Since you're here, how can you leave? Ning Luo laughed coldly and slashed the Ice Frost Divine Sword across subsequently. Swoosh! An indescribable coldness was slashed out from Ning Luo's Ice Frost Divine Sword. In an instant, several powerful figures who were fleeing away turned into icy frost successively. At the same time, the Vajra and the demonized Buddha statue swept out and crushed those frosty figures. The dead people turned into blood fog and surged into the Ice Frost Divine Sword. Enchanting was astonished to witness this sight. Ning Luo could actually control the Ice Frost Divine Sword so skillfully. How could this be? To control such a divine weapon, one's skills had to be compatible. Otherwise, there was no use at all. Even if it was the Enchanting who was at her peak in the previous lifetime, she might not be able to control a heaven-grade divine weapon so perfectly with her holy venerate skills. Speaking in another way, unless Ning Luo possessed skills of a holy venerate, there was no way this could happen at all. However, Enchanting would not believe that Ning Luo was a holy venerate figure. If Ning Luo's skills could rival a holy venerate's, he did not need to go through such trouble to destroy this mainland, as he could easily cause this mainland to vanish without a trace with the raise of a hand. Fuck! How dare a mere creature produced by the hell of a Visanaraka mystic realm disregard me? The white tiger hollered in fury and launched its body towards the demonized Buddha statue once again. Almost at the same time, the demonized Buddha statue and the white tiger were entangled in a brawl while Ning Luo gently leaped down from the demonized Buddha statue. While this demonized Buddha statue was powerful, it was unable to continue to be on a rampage without rival once it met a grown fiend celestial beast. Although the demonized Buddha statue's combat power was similar to the white tiger's, its defense was weaker than the fiend celestial beast. Thus, it was quickly forced to be in a defensive mode. Enchanting ignored the fight between the white tiger and the demonized statue and only looked at Ning Luo. The man before her exuded an extremely mysterious air. He did not have the skills of a holy venerate yet could control a heaven-grade divine weapon so perfectly. He was not that extraordinary lattice follower but was obsessed with destroying this mainland. Who exactly was he, and why did he want to do this? Ning Luo, where are you from, and why do you wish to destroy this mainland? Enchanting stared at Ning Luo, who stood not far away, as though he was a powerful enemy. Chapter 664, Real Identity. Why? Are you very surprised that I can control this sword like this? Ning Luo chuckled gently as he waved the Ice Frost Divine Sword. Given your heart, you don't deserve this heaven-grade divine weapon, Enchanting said straightforwardly. Don't deserve. Ning Luo turned around to look at Enchanting. His aura actually combined perfectly with the Ice Frost Divine Sword in his hand. Did you say that I don't deserve this sword? Ning Luo smiled. It was clearly a person's voice, but when others heard it, it seemed that the Ice Frost Divine Sword and Ning Luo spoke at the same time. You. After sensing the strange aura on Ning Luo's body, Yi Qingtang's expression changed immediately. She was in disbelief. Oh, you seem to finally sense something. It's really not simple. Ning Luo's lips tugged up slightly. You are not a human. Yi Qingtang frowned slightly. Must one be a human if he wears human skin? Ning Luo shook his head. What exactly are you? Yi Qingtang stared straight at Ning Luo. No wonder there was no fluctuation of aura on him and she could not tell his skill level. He was not even human. Ha! Ning Luo chuckled, yet it gave one a piercing coldness. Since you said that I don't deserve this sword, why can't you see that I am the sword itself? You said you are the Ice Frost Divine Sword. Yi Qingtang's eyes were filled with shock. You're the Ice Frost Divine Sword's sword spirit. Isn't this clear yet? As Ning Luo spoke, his aura had already combined with the Ice Frost Divine Sword to extreme perfection. Currently, Yi Qingtang could no longer tell whether the person was the sword or the sword was the person. Ha! Yi Qingtang, I'm the sword of that lady you talked about. My name is Ice Frost. I'm the Ice Frost Divine Sword. Ning Luo looked at Yi Qingtang, and his lips formed into an icy smile. Before my spiritual wisdom was activated, I had already followed her. I shared life and death with her. I shared glory with her, and she gave me the best sheath. I've been through adversity with her. When it is cold, she knows that I'm not afraid of the cold but still placed me before the fire. When I'm thirsty, she killed enemies while I drank their blood. When he said that, a cold wind roared, and frost fell faintly. When my spiritual wisdom was first activated, I was extremely elated, but she fell into a bloody pool before me. I never thought that the people that she cared deeply for would combine forces to steal everything she had, including her life. Yi Qingtang, don't you think it is perfectly justified for me to wipe out this mainland? At this instant, Yi Qingtang was speechless from the shock. She had guessed all kinds of identities that Ning Luo could have, but she never thought that he was the Ice Frost Divine Sword. Moreover, he was a sword spirit of a heaven-grade divine sword. In this world, ordinary weapons and Dharma treasures had spirituality, but it was not enough for their spiritual wisdom to be activated. However, as the grade of the weapons or Dharma treasures increased, its spirituality would become stronger as well. For example, the Ice Frost Divine Sword was a heaven-grade divine weapon and had followed the extraordinary lady for a long time. Its spiritual wisdom was finally activated, and it became a sword spirit. In this world, there was an extremely limited number of top-notch Dharma treasures of which spiritual wisdom could be activated. Not mentioning the first mainland, even if it was in the third domain of which martial culture was at its peak, a Dharma treasure with activated spiritual wisdom could cause the powerful figures that were at an emperor level to contend for it. For example, Yi Yu was a great empress in her previous life but did not have any fate to obtain a heaven-grade divine weapon with an activated spiritual wisdom. To an extremely powerful person, this item was also something that they may meet by chance and was not something they could just ask for. How blessed was that extraordinary lady exactly? As a cultivator of the first mainland, it was already a miracle that she could obtain a heaven-grade divine weapon. Afterward, she even allowed the heaven-grade divine weapon to activate its spiritual wisdom and become a sword spirit. Since she knew that Ning Luo was a sword spirit, Yi Qingtang would naturally not dispute with him over anything, much less reason with him. All sword spirits were bigoted. Nothing but mad obsession. To a sword spirit, reasons were simply a joke. They only did what they liked, and no one could stop them. Especially for Ning Luo, who personally witnessed the extraordinary lad's tragic death, it was not an exaggeration to say that he had gone mad. However, no matter what, she had to stop Ning Luo even if she had to risk her life for it. Her foster father, everyone in the Yi family clan, and her martial siblings from Xianling's sect and Falling Sky Valley were all innocent. They must not be buried with the Ning Luo's anger, much less bear the consequences of the sins committed by their predecessors. Seeming to have seen through Yi Qingtang's thoughts, Ning Luo said without emotions, "Yi Qingtang, there is a familiar bloodline aura on you. It's also from the fourth domain. I don't wish to hurt you, and you shall not think of stopping me. So you want to break the dimension wall and let that ancient clan from the central mainland come here and obtain that extraordinary lattice spiritual abode? Everything was caused by them. What has it got to do with the ordinary beings living on this mainland?" Yi Qingtang asked. "Those ancient clan people. They will also pay a price that is 100 times more miserable. When I've truly grown and become more powerful." A flicker flashed across Ning Luo's eyes. From Ning Luo's expression, Yi Qingtang could ascertain that he, a heaven-grade divine weapon that had activated its spiritual wisdom and turned into a sword spirit, would definitely not let off anyone who once harmed that extraordinary lady. He planned to use those people from the ancient clan to wipe out this mainland. Afterward, when he was fully grown, he would personally annihilate that ancient clan. "Yi Qingtang, I said that we would still meet again in the future. This sentence is still effective." Ning Luo's lips curled up. "However, before this, I can give you a chance. You said that this mainland is innocent. Since that's the case, do something then. Show me how long that faith you talked about can last for." "What do you mean?" Yi Qingtang looked at Ning Luo with a slight frown. "Currently, I have enough strength to completely destroy the dimension wall protecting this mainland." As he spoke, he turned into a shadow and combined into one with the Ice Frost Divine Sword. Swoosh! The Ice Frost Divine Sword immediately surged into the air. An almost invisible sword light passed through the limit of the mystic realm and slashed towards the sky in the outside world. At the same time, the mainland, regardless of inside or outside the mystic realm, seemed to quake wildly. Apart from Yi Qingtang, no one else would know what exactly happened. The dimension wall was destroyed by Ning Luo. In at most a few breaths' time, the Ice Frost Divine Sword returned to the ground again. "Yi Qingtang, given my current powers, I only destroyed 2/3 of this dimension wall. That ancient clan in the central mainland will not be able to find this place in a short period of time. So, you still have some time. Let me see how exactly your fourth domain bloodline will truly awaken. Let me see how you can stop those powerful figures from the ancient clan of the central mainland." Chapter 666, Who are you to do that? Yi Qingtang sighed after hearing Ning Luo. This sigh was not because of this mainland or the dimension wall but because she felt rather pitiful towards this Ice Frost Divine Sword. Ever since its spiritual wisdom was activated and it turned into a sword spirit, it had been in a world of misery and seeking revenge. Currently, 2/3 of the dimension wall was destroyed, which was considered a huge blessing in the misfortune to Yi Qingtang. If the dimension wall were completely destroyed, people from that ancient clan in the central mainland would definitely be able to find this place in less than 10 days. However, there was still 1/3 of the dimension wall remaining, which could buy them some time. "Yi Qingtang, I hate those who are all talk and no action the most in my life. Since you think that the living beings on this mainland are innocent, do something then. If you're afraid, you can choose to leave this mainland anytime. I hope that we can still meet one day." After the Ice Frost Divine Sword finished speaking, it turned into a sword shadow immediately and rushed into the end of the sky, vanishing from this mystic realm without a trace. Along with Ning Luo's disappearance, the demonized Buddha statue which was fighting with the white tiger turned silent immediately and no longer moved. The white tiger roared angrily and slammed its paws down, crushing the demonized Buddha statue into powder. As the truth of Ning Luo's identity was revealed, Enchanting finally understood why Ning Luo could influence and even control the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm. As the Ice Frost Divine Sword, Ning Luo's body had long been stained with the extraordinary lattice aura. On the other hand, this mystic realm was transformed by the extraordinary lattice soul formation. It was thus reasonable to think that Ning Luo could control this mystic realm. However, before Enchanting could continue to think deeply, cold laughter rang in the air. "Fiend celestial beast, are you willing to follow me?" Afterward, Yu, who was seated on a huge, white spirit fox, arrived slowly. "Fuck you. Another one coveting after my blood and flesh." The energy in the white tiger's body was already completely depleted, and it had turned into a little white tiger. Yu. Enchanting's eyes flickered when she saw the lady on the spirit fox. Yu probably obtained a pretty large inheritance from that illusory palace in the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm. The spirit fox beneath her was a king-level demonic beast, yet it was also willing to acknowledge her as its master. Many Yunshao sect disciples finally dared to appear after seeing Yu. "Congratulations, senior sister Yu, for having advanced your skills. Congratulations, senior sister Yu, for obtaining a king-level demonic beast. Senior sister Yu, that white tiger is the fiend celestial beast in the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm. If our Yunshao sect can obtain it, we will definitely become the #1 super sect." Apart from the compliments of the disciples, the only remaining Yunshao sect warden chimed in hurriedly. "This fiend celestial beast is destined to belong to me," Yu said without emotions. Enchanting sized up Yu with interest. Currently, Yu was merely at the peak of martial chi level 3 third heaven, which was not far from her, a half-step Yin-Yang perfected lord. Even if Yu had her blue spirit root, Enchanting possessed the ultimate origin skill. Yu wanted to snatch the fiend celestial beast away from her. Who was she to do that? Before Enchanting spoke, an icy laugh sounded above them. "Yours. In this mystic realm, everything is mine." "Who is that?" Yu was alarmed. In the next second, that Ice Frost Divine Sword that had initially disappeared suddenly returned. Swoosh! An icy sword gleam flashed across and pierced into the king-level demonic beast beneath Yu. The king-level spirit fox let out a miserable cry. Unable to hold out any longer, it collapsed on the ground and died. Even after, the sword force never decreased, and it threw Yu several meters away from the point of impact. Puff! Yu's face was ash-white as she spat out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 667, Leaving the Mystic Realm, 1. Yu flicked her wrist slightly and gently wiped the blood off the corners of her lips. As she looked at the Ice Frost Divine Sword ahead, her brows were furrowed deeply. She had not entered this part of the mystic realm for long and thus did not know what happened. After seeing that Yu was injured by the Ice Frost Divine Sword, everyone from Yunshao's sect was shocked, and several disciples rushed forward hurriedly. "What happened here?" Yu asked softly. "Senior sister Yu, it's Ning Luo." One of the Yunshao sect disciples told Yu about the sequence of events. Ning Luo. After learning the situation, Yu was shocked. Ning Luo was not a human but a sword spirit of a divine sword. "Yu, just nice that you're here. I almost forgot about you." Ning Luo's voice appeared from the Ice Frost Divine Sword. In the next second, Ning Luo condensed into a human form. His long black hair swayed in the wind. Wielding the Ice Frost Divine Sword in his hands, his aloof eyes landed on Yu. "This is bad. Everyone from Yunshao's sect felt their blood run cold when they saw the shocking murderous aura around Ning Luo. Many Yunshao's sect disciples were already seniors in the inner sect, and they knew that there were some grudges between Ning Luo and Yi Yu. Back when Ning Luo was in the sect, he had a rather close relationship with a junior sister. However, that junior sister had a conflict with Yi Yu and offended her. Thus, all her cultivation was destroyed, and she was kicked out of the sect. On her departure from the sect, she encountered a group of rogues and had a tragic ending. However, everyone in Yunshao's sect was shocked right now. Ning Luo was a sword spirit which hid in Yunshao's sect. Could it be that he really had some feelings with that junior sister in the sect? When Enchanting saw that Ning Luo returned again, seeming to have some grudges with Yi Yu, she naturally sat out and waited to reap the spoils later on. At that moment, Ning Luo's manner was increasingly shocking. A frightening layer of frost emerged on his body as he faced Yi Yu, seeming as though he was really infuriated. Yi Yu, we can settle our scores now. Ning Luo had an aloof expression. His tone was utterly cold like a million-year-old glacier. Since you are a sword spirit, what grudges do we have? Yi Yu rose slowly and looked at Ning Luo. Who told you that sword spirits do not have feelings? As Ning Luo spoke, the ice frost divine sword in his hands slashed towards Yi Yu. Almost instantly, the surrounding area was frozen by the aura slashed out by the ice frost divine sword. Yi Yu was agile and had flown away the instant Ning Luo waved the sword. It was, however, that the few disciples in front of Yi Yu turned into frost and vanished into dust. Back when Ning Luo was hiding in Yunshao's sect, he was not close to anyone other than that kind junior sister who was Ning Luo's only friend in Yunshao's sect. However, this only friend was indirectly killed by Yi Yu. After the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm started, Ning Luo originally thought that Yi Yu had already died in that land of inheritance. Yet, unexpectedly, she gained the inheritance and was not injured at all. Ning Luo, I'll remember our grudge for now. Since you're a sword spirit, you will eventually submit to me one day. Yi Yu stood in the air proudly and stared down at Ning Luo. After hearing that, Ning Luo's lips curled up slightly. I'm afraid that you don't have a future. That's not necessarily so. As Yi Yu spoke, she took out a black talisman which burned on its own in the next second. Spatial Teleport Talisman. Ning Luo was in thought when he saw that talisman. Chapter 668, Leaving the Mystic Realm, 2. This spatial teleport talisman was handed to me by the sect master. It's still put to use eventually. Yi Yu sneered coldly. Before Yi Yu entered the mystic realm, the sect master personally handed her the spatial teleport talisman. If she met any life-threatening dangers, she could use this spatial teleport talisman to escape. As the black talisman was burnt, Yi Yu's body gradually turned unreal until it became an illusion. In just a moment, she had already vanished without a trace. I've never expected Yunshao's sex heritage to be strong to this point, Enchanting thought in her heart as she watched Yi Yu disappear. Even to super sex, a spatial teleport talisman was extremely precious. It was evident that Yunshao's sect valued Yi Yu very highly. Otherwise, they would not have handed this treasure to Yi Yu for her to protect her life. With the spatial teleport talisman, even Ning Luo could only watch Yi Yu leave before him now. As Yi Yu left after using the spatial teleport talisman, Ning Luo looked at Enchanting and subsequently took a cold glance of the surroundings. There was already no one in the vicinity. When Ning Luo appeared and injured Yi Yu with a strike, the disciples from the super sects had already fled in advance, deeply afraid that they would encounter a calamity. Swoosh! In the next second, Ning Luo and the Ice Frost Divine Sword combined into one again. The Ice Frost Divine Sword rushed into the sky and disappeared in no time. When Enchanting sensed that the aura of the Ice Frost Divine Sword had completely vanished, she finally ascertained that Ning Luo had really left the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm this time. To prevent more troubles, Enchanting brought the Blood Moon Elder and the little white tiger out of the place in the fastest time possible and hid in a rather remote corner. With the death of the Xianling sect's Grand Elder and the departure of Ning Luo, the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm finally quieted down. Enchanting was caught off guard by the entire experience in the mystic realm. The schemer of the mystic realm was actually Xianling sect's Grand Elder, while Ning Luo was that extraordinary lattice sword. As the Grand Elder had said, their scheme had to start in advance because of her. In her previous life, Xianling sect's annihilation happened a few years later. In her previous life, when Xianling sect was annihilated, Enchanting was already forced to leave this mainland. Thus, she did not know about the dimension wall and the story behind the extraordinary lady and this mainland. Enchanting guessed that in her previous life, apart from Yi Yu who possessed the spatial teleport talisman and left safely, everyone else in the mystic realm should have died in this mystic realm. As for why Ouyang Qian could enter this mystic realm, perhaps it was because of an uncontrollable factor due to the advanced opening of the mystic realm. The reason was very simple actually. If they followed the timeline of her previous life, the mystic realm would have started several years later when Ouyang Qian was occupied with the domestic trivia of the Ouyang family clan and had no spare time for anything else. Because the mystic realm started in advance, many unexpected incidents that never happened in her previous life occurred. A long while later, Enchanting stopped her train of thought and did not think any further. There was a rather huge gain in this trip into the mystic realm. Apart from the Black Heaven water, she also obtained an extremely precious illusion stone on top of hundreds of pounds of millennium meteoric iron. Furthermore, her skills had advanced to a half-step yin-yang perfected lord. It could be said that in the thousands of people who entered the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm, none of their gains could be compared to Enchanting's. Most of them had lost their lives here and had not even seen a treasure this whole time. Chapter 669 Leaving the Mystic Realm 3. Only a small number of people were lucky enough to obtain some inheritances and treasures as they ran for their lives. Only Yi Yu obtained a destiny of a land of inheritance, but when compared to Enchanting, Yi Yu's gain still paled greatly in comparison. Even Enchanting did not think that she would be the one to obtain the Fiend Celestial Beast after entering the Hell of Avicenaraka. She still remembered how when they just entered the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm, she only thought of leaving this place alive and never expected to obtain any destinies or treasures. Currently, there was still some time for Enchanting's spirit root to advance a grade. Thus, it was not appropriate to use the Black Heaven water to cleanse it in this period of time, and Enchanting was not in a hurry either. In the next few days, there was not a moment that Enchanting rested as she consolidated her cultivation at her hiding place. On the other hand, the little white tiger slept soundly while the Blood Moon Elder patrolled the surroundings. The past few days were rather calm and quiet, and nothing special happened. Most of the remaining survivors in the Hell of Avicenaraka seemed to be hidden as well. No one was clear whether that Ice Frost Divine Sword left or hid somewhere. If he returned again like before, he would probably slay anyone he saw. Dawn. The Blood Moon Elder entered the cave that Enchanting was hiding in and spoke. Holy Lady, not much happened in the past few days. It seems that everyone is waiting for the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm to close. Enchanting nodded. It was the same as what she expected. The interior of the giant tower was not as dangerous as the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm. As long as they did not leave the giant tower or risk their lives and head to the dangerous areas, they would not encounter any danger. Several hours later, the Hell of Avicenaraka dimmed. Heaven and earth seemed to suddenly reverse. When Enchanting opened her eyes again, she was already out of the Hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm. The wind caressed her cheeks as she stepped on the flat land. It was only then when Enchanting returned to her senses. At this instant, she had finally left that dangerous hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm. Although she had gained many things, she was unwilling to come to this place another time. Holy Lady, are we out? The Blood Moon Elder looked at the dense forest that surrounded them. Enchanting nodded slightly. They were finally out. Once the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm closed, the remaining survivors were subsequently released at various areas. There were no other survivors nearby where Enchanting was released. Where do we go now? The Blood Moon Elder fixed his thoughts. God knew how torturous that hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm was. Fuck. Why am I out? The little white tiger crawled up. When it saw the beautiful forest around it, it was utterly stupefied. It had been in the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm for a long time. Even if the mystic realm opened or closed, it did not have any influence on it. But, why was it out this time? Enchanting looked at the dumbstruck little white tiger. Did you forget that you signed an equality contract with me? Once the mystic realm closed, all people would be removed from the mystic realm. The little white tiger was originally not in the scope of being removed, but she and the little white tiger signed a contract. Hence, when she was being sent out, the miserable fiend celestial beast was also sent out as well. The little white tiger glared at the calm Enchanting, and all of its hair stood up. Fuck you. I'm not leaving. If you all want to leave, you all can leave by yourselves. Chapter 670 Leaving the Mystic Realm. 4. The Blood Moon Elder's lips twitched. They wished to leave the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm as fast as possible, yet this fiend celestial beast still wanted to stay in it. You still want to go back in? The Blood Moon Elder asked. The little white tiger said, duh. Everyone outside wants to drink my blood and eat my flesh. The hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm is still the safest. You all can leave. I won't walk you out already. Just come back frequently to visit me. It wanted to retreat backward, but when its 4 tiny paws took a few steps, it was already picked up by Enchanting by its neck. Fuck you. Why are you grabbing me? Quickly put me down. Are you a fool? Enchanting looked at the little white tiger which bared its fangs and brandished its claws in hopes of escaping. Fuck you. You are the fool. The hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm is already closed. How are you going to go back? Enchanting raised the hand that was holding onto the little white tiger and let it see its surroundings. After glancing a full round, there were only green trees in the surroundings and not a slight trace of the mystic realm's entrance. The little white tiger that was still struggling initially was completely dumbfounded after taking a sweeping glance. It's hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm. It's all your fault. You caused me to lose even my last shelter. If I leave, won't I have to endure many hardships and drift from place to place? Despair filled the little white tiger's face. Thinking about its miserable life when it was chased after for its life, it wished it could rush back into the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm. Since you really don't wish to leave, I'll let you have your wish. After saying that, Enchanting immediately placed the little white tiger back on the ground. You can stay here to wait for the next time the mystic realm opens. The little white tiger which regained its freedom was instantly a little dumbfounded. Wait for the mystic realm to open the next time. God knows how many years this mystic realm required to open. If it continued to waste time here waiting, God knows how many humans and demonic beasts it would encounter. Almost when its paws landed on the ground, the little white tiger turned around, leaped, and directly hugged Enchanting's calf. Wait! I changed my mind. Change your mind. Enchanting raised a brow slightly. The little white tiger looked up and nodded seriously. Since I've already signed an equality contract, I must be responsible for you. Thus, I'll leave with you. I must protect your safety. Enchanting rubbed her temples. She suddenly had an impulse to stuff it back into the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm. Enchanting had just left the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm and could not be bothered with this crazy fiend celestial beast, so she allowed it to nag. After observing for a moment, Enchanting brought the Blood Moon Elder and the little white tiger away from this forest. Before night fell, they found a cave to rest in. When they were in the hell of Avicenaraka, they had to be cautious every moment. Now that they were finally free from that dangerous land, Enchanting and the Blood Moon Elder could finally sleep peacefully. The moonlight enshrouded the place gradually. Enchanting and the Blood Moon Elder fell asleep soundly. The little white tiger was sprawled outside the cave, seeming to be in a deep sleep as well. In this dark night, a ball of black fog quietly floated out from Enchanting's chest. Very quickly, that fog condensed into a little black ball about the size of a palm. The little black ball suddenly opened its eyes and looked straight at the little white tiger which was sleeping outside the cave. The appearance of the little black ball caused the little lightning dragon in Enchanting's arms to wriggle instinctively. It peeked its head out silently and looked at the little black ball. Don't worry. I will not use your body again for now. Moreover, I found an even better one. The little black ball narrowed its eyes in satisfaction as it stared at the snow-white body of the little white tiger. When they were in the hell of Avicenaraka previously, the little black ball's powers were suppressed within the heart of the demon god. Even if Enchanting was endangered, it could not appear and break free from that suppression. Fortunately, they went through the daunting experience without mishaps. The little lightning dragon's body was still not powerful enough. Rather, the fiend celestial beast before it. At that thought, the little black ball shuffled to the little white tiger's side immediately. However, just as the little black ball was about to reach the little white tiger, which was originally in deep sleep, suddenly opened its eyes. Almost the same instant when the little white tiger opened its eyes, a powerful demonic air suddenly surged out from its body, and its body enlarged extremely quickly. Get lost. Don't disturb me. All of a sudden, a large and muscular fiend celestial beast stared at the little black ball that was about the size of a palm. At this very instant, its eyes became especially sharp. Even when it was in the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm, it had never displayed such a sharp bearing before. The little black ball was dumbfounded instantly. Looking at the fiend celestial beast whose bearing suddenly changed drastically, it was inevitable that it was astounded. However, before the little black ball took another step, the aura that swelled out from the fiend celestial beast had already awakened Enchanting. Sitting up absent-mindedly, she narrowed her eyes and looked in the direction of the aura. At the same time when Enchanting rose, the little black ball shuffled into the little lightning dragon's body at lightning speed. The little lightning dragon was dumbfounded. What about the said, will not use your body? In the next second, a ball of light enveloped the little lightning dragon's body, which suddenly enlarged. When the light faded, the little dragon man with a pair of dragon horns appeared before Enchanting. Mother, the little black ball, which took over the little lightning dragon's body once again, buried its head in Enchanting's arms as it wriggled around comfortably. Enchanting looked at the little lightning dragon which suddenly turned into its human form in a daze. A hint of shock flashed across her eyes. This little fellow had not turned into its human form for a long time, and she almost forgot that it had that ability already. However, before Enchanting could think why this little fellow suddenly transformed, she looked up instinctively only to see the gigantic fiend celestial beast that covered the entire cave entrance. The little white tiger which was initially so tiny had now turned into the fiend celestial beast with an imposing aura. Furthermore, at that very instant, the expression in the fiend celestial beast's eyes was especially sharp, and its eyes were staring right at the little dragon man in her arms. You are. Enchanting faintly sensed something wrong with the fiend celestial beast. Even when they were in the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm, she had never seen such a serious expression in its eyes before. The fiend celestial beast narrowed its eyes and subsequently put away all of its aura. Its huge body turned into that tiny little white tiger before Enchanting's eyes. Fuck. I can't even have a peaceful sleep. The little white tiger puffed, though its eyes casually swept across the little black ball that was nested in Enchanting's arms. A cold glint flashed across its eyes. Then, it did not say anything else, strutted away, and went to sleep once again. Chapter 672, 9 Nights Dynasty, 1. Enchanting's head ached a little as she looked at the little white tiger which went back to sleep, not understanding what happened to the fiend celestial beast again. Mother, do you miss me? The little dragon man looked up at Enchanting. Wasn't it nested in her arms all day? Did she still need to miss it? Making contact with the little dragon man's big, bright eyes, Enchanting could only nod helplessly. She really did not understand why this little fellow was so glued to her. It's late. Let's rest early. Enchanting patted the little dragon man's head. She woke up in the middle of her sleep and was still a little tired. Moreover, she still had to hit the road the next morning and thus needed to be fully rested. The little dragon man nodded in satisfaction. As Enchanting laid down, the little dragon man snuggled next to her obediently. Right before it closed its eyes, it discreetly swept a glance at the little white tiger which was sleeping not far away. The next morning when Enchanting and the rest woke up, the little black ball had already returned into Enchanting's body while the little lightning dragon, which was once again sucked dry, wilted. It would never believe anything that little bully said again. Holy lady, where are we going next? The Blood Moon Elder asked Enchanting. I'll send you home, Enchanting said with a smile. Ah. Home. Are we returning to the Blood Moon sect? The Blood Moon Elder's eyes lit up immediately. However, Enchanting's next words utterly kicked the Blood Moon Elder out from his delusions. Accurately speaking, it's sending you back to Ouyang Qian's home. Enchanting scanned the Blood Moon Elder with a grin. Enchanting already had a plan in mind. There were orders to kill her everywhere in Formidable Heaven's Dynasty now, and it would be inconvenient for her to return. On the other hand, this mystic realm was not far away from the 9 Nights Dynasty. If they went to the 9 Nights Dynasty, it would be more convenient. There were only a few months left for Xianling's sect's defense, and she had to reach the true Ouyang perfected Lord state in this period of time in order to save the entire Xianling sect. To break through to the Ouyang perfected Lord in such a short span of time, she could only head to Falling Sky Valley. Furthermore, Enchanting retrieved a tiny jade pendant from her space ring. This space ring was given to her by her foster father, who made it clear that it was found on her when they picked her up, and it was probably related to her parentage. The origin of this jade pendant was related to the royals of the 9 Nights Dynasty. Regardless of becoming more powerful or tracing her parentage, Enchanting had to head to the 9 Nights Dynasty and Falling Sky Valley. Holy lady, do I really have to go to the Ouyang family? Despair was seen on the Blood Moon Elder's face. Let alone that he was already forced to become a female, his holy lady still wanted to send him to the Ouyang family to be someone's daughter. In his entire life, he had never experienced such torture before. When he thought that he might have to call the Ouyang family clan master, father, disgust filled him. Not only do you have to go there, but you also have to use Ouyang family clan's influence to help me check something, Enchanting said. What is it? The Blood Moon Elder asked. Enchanting held the jade pendant in front of the Blood Moon Elder. Look at this jade pendant clearly. It said that this jade pendant is related to the royals of the 9 Nights Dynasty. When you've returned to the Ouyang family clan, help me find out about it. The Ouyang family clan was a super family clan in the Nine Knights dynasty. Given their position and influence, they could definitely find out about secrets that ordinary people could not. The Blood Moon Elder was filled with confusion as he looked at that jade pendant. He could sense that this jade pendant had an extraordinary significance to Holy Lady, otherwise, she would not order him to investigate it so solemnly. Rest assured, Holy Lady. I will definitely do my best. After giving a slight nod, Enchanting turned to look at the little white tiger which was still sleeping soundly. Under the warm sunlight, the little white tiger was comfortably sprawled on its back with its stomach exposed. Before we go to the Nine Knights dynasty, I still need to make some preparations. Afterward, Enchanting narrowed her eyes balefully and walked right towards the little white tiger. The little white tiger was still sleeping soundly and had not realized the incoming danger. It was still dreaming, but suddenly, it felt a tight grip at the back of its neck, and it was directly lifted off the ground. It widened its eyes in horror and met with Enchanting's eyes that hid a subtle smile. Fuck you. What are you doing? Enchanting raised her hand and flicked the tip of the little white tiger's nose. If you curse at me again, I won't hold back anymore. I need to help you make a tiny change now. I'm very good now. I don't need any changes. The little white tiger rubbed its painful nose as it looked at Enchanting in horror. Don't be nervous. I'm just helping you to dye a color. Afterward, Enchanting brought the little white tiger to the stream outside the cave with another hand touching her space ring. There was already a number of people who saw the little white tiger's appearance in the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm. Although white tigers were not a frequent sight, if anyone found out about it, Enchanting might be embroiled in troubles because of it. Luckily, it was simple to dye a white tiger into the appearance of a common tiger. Die. Woman, put me down quickly. If you don't let me go, I won't hold back anymore. After hearing that, the little white tiger's hair stood up. However, no matter how loudly it roared, it was still brought to the stream by Enchanting. In no time, Enchanting brought a little tiger with orange fur back. The Blood Moon Elder almost burst out laughing there and then when he saw the little white tiger which still had some wet patches on its body. The little white tiger became a little orange tiger in an instant. It must be said that the color did not feel out of place. Woman. If not for the fact that I signed a contract with you, such mischief is already enough for me to kill you countless times. The little white tiger glared at Enchanting. After hearing that, the smile on the Blood Moon Elder's lips twisted. Until when is this damn fiend celestial beast going to be so stubborn? Find authorized novels in Webnovel Faster Updates. Better experience please click for visiting. Revolt if you have the ability. Without responding to the little white tiger, Enchanting took out a bottle of elixir from her space ring and consumed it. That elixir was used for changing one's looks. The young teen which Enchanting disguised as was already exposed before everyone by the Grand Elder, and she could only use other objects to disguise herself. A while after the elixir was consumed, a subtle change appeared in her appearance. The original soft features gradually had traces of willfulness like that of a young boy. Although it was different from her previous male appearance, her features were still exquisite and outstanding. As Enchanting's lips curled up slightly, she immediately turned into a beautiful boy who could bewitch anyone. After making all the preparations, Enchanting changed into a male outfit and brought the dyed little white tiger and the Blood Moon Elder out. They bought a carriage in a small town on their way and were on their journey to the Nine Knights dynasty. The Nine Knights dynasty had a vast territory. As one of the two big dynasties in this mainland, its territory was especially large. The Ouyang family clan was the #1 family clan of the Nine Knights dynasty and was situated in the Monarch City. The land in the Monarch City of Nine Knights dynasty was the largest city in the dynasty. It stretched a full 100 miles, and the spirit energy in that land was rich. Setting this land apart to build this city was initially intended by the first emperor of Nine Knights dynasty. Apart from the royals of Nine Knights dynasty, most of the various dominant forces were built up in the Monarch City. This included Enchanting's destination, Falling Sky Valley. The dominant forces counterbalanced each other in the Monarch City, and the Nine Knights dynasty royal family did not dare to interfere too much. Sitting in the carriage, Enchanting looked out of the window while holding onto the jade pendant in her hands. The scene outside became increasingly familiar to her. She still vividly remembered this scene she saw when she fled into the Nine Knights dynasty in her previous life. Afterward, she was accepted by perfected Xianqin as a disciple and entered Falling Sky Valley. Although it was the same road, the situations in this life and the previous were completely different. In this life, she would definitely not be as miserable. Holy Lady, we are reaching the Nine Knight Dynasty's Monarch City very soon. The Blood Moon Elder saw the boundless city wall not far away from the carriage window and turned around to inform Enchanting. When we enter the Monarch City, don't call me Holy Lady anymore. Enchanting replied. Ah. Then I'll call you Darling Yi. The Blood Moon Elder looked at Enchanting endearingly. Enchanting's lips froze. She was just this close to throwing the Blood Moon Elder out of the carriage. Call me young Sir Yi. Remember, I am called Yi Chen now, Enchanting said. Oh. Young Sir Yi. The Blood Moon Elder followed after Enchanting's words. Enchanting turned around and looked at Little White Tiger, which had a lifeless expression. Ever since it was dyed another color, its eyes were filled with nothing but misery. Little White, don't be so anxious. Your dyed color is only temporary. The Little White Tiger quivered at the address of Little White. Fuck you. Who allowed you to anyhow name me? You're Little White. Your whole family is Little White. The Little White Tiger shouted in fury. Enchanting rubbed her chin as she looked at the orange fur that stood all over the Little White Tiger's body. Then I'll call you Little Orange. You're little. Your whole family is little. The Blood Moon Elder took a glance of the Little White Tiger and curled his lips secretly. Does it still think it is very big? Enchanting did not know whether to laugh or cry as she looked at the rebelling Little White Tiger. Little White, you must not open your mouth so casually anymore once we enter the Monarch City. Otherwise, if people find out that you're not an ordinary tiger, I dare not guarantee anything. The Little White Tiger froze for a moment, and a serious expression appeared on its face. Don't worry. I said that I would guarantee your safety. Why did it become that it was protecting her? A laugh escaped her lips as she shook her head. Just as Enchanting chuckled, the carriage had already arrived at the city gates of the Monarch City. As the Monarch City of the Nine Knights dynasty, which was also a territory of the dominant forces, the guards at the city gates were extremely strict with the entry and exit of people. Non-citizens of the Monarch City and ordinary people were not allowed to enter or leave the city as they wished. Immediately, the soldiers at the city gates stopped the carriage that Enchanting and the rest were in. Chapter 675, Ouyang Family Clan, 1. The Blood Moon Elder peeked his head out without waiting for Enchanting to say anything. Once Ouyang Qian's face appeared, the few guards immediately let them pass. The Ouyang family clan's influence in Nine Knights dynasty was extraordinary, and the guards at the Monarch City naturally recognized the young miss of the Ouyang family clan. It was, however, that they found it strange, since when would Ouyang family clan's young miss sit in such a plain carriage? As the carriage entered the Monarch City successfully, Enchanting glanced at the scenery in the city. Seeing that they were about to reach the main door of the Ouyang family clan, she suddenly turned to look at the Blood Moon Elder. Do you remember everything I said about Ouyang Qian and the Ouyang family clan? Rest assured, Holy Lady. I remember them clearly. The Blood Moon Elder nodded, knowing the seriousness of the matter. The Ouyang family clan was the #1 family clan in Nine Nights Dynasty, and its heritage was not what original family clans could compare to. The Blood Moon Elder stole Ouyang Qian's body currently, and if he accidentally let slip anything, the Ouyang family clan would skin him alive. Ouyang Qian behaves bossily, and the only person she is slightly obedient to is her father, who is Ouyang family clan's family clan master, Ouyang Jian. As long as you remember what I said previously clearly, there should not be any problems. Enchanting warned. Noted, the Blood Moon Elder said and nodded. Wasn't it just a bossy young miss? How difficult was that? As they spoke, the carriage had already reached the main door of Ouyang family clan. When the few guards standing at the Ouyang family clan door saw a simple carriage stopping before them, they frowned immediately and walked up. This is Ouyang family clan's territory. Miscellaneous people are not to stay. Before waiting for the guard to finish speaking, a loud shout suddenly traveled out from the carriage. How dare you? Who gave you the audacity to stop my carriage? The moment that sound came out, the Ouyang family clan guards were stunned. They were more than familiar with this voice. Didn't it belong to their young miss, Ouyang Qian? As the guards were taken aback, the Blood Moon Elder who was in Ouyang Qian's skin walked out of the carriage with arrogance and impatience written all over her exquisite face. A group of good-for-nothings. Don't you all recognize me already? The Blood Moon Elder shouted coldly with a frown. Greetings, young miss. The group of guards bowed hurriedly as they broke out in a cold sweat. How would they have thought that their distinguished young miss would actually sit in such an old carriage? Enchanting secretly raised her brows as she watched the Blood Moon Elder's arrogant attitude. It seems that the Blood Moon Elder had adapted to his new identity pretty well. That bossiness is quite on point. Humph. The Blood Moon Sect Elder lifted his chin arrogantly. At least he was an elder of Blood Moon Sect 1,000 years ago. This mighty stance was at his fingertips. If he was not thrown into this pit, he would not have gotten into so much trouble. Now that he saw how fearful the Ouyang family clan's guards behaved, it was really great. Make way quickly. Without looking at those guards, the Blood Moon Elder walked in himself. Enchanting subsequently brought the little white tiger down the carriage and followed behind the Blood Moon Elder into the Ouyang family clan residence. The guards at the door could only watch that beautiful young man beside their young miss in surprise. Where did this beautiful young man jump out from? However, even if they were confused, no one dared to question as everyone knew that the Ouyang family clan's young miss was bad-tempered and obstinate. If they made her unhappy, they probably would not even know how they died. The Blood Moon Elder and Enchanting entered the Ouyang family clan together. Upon hearing the news, the housekeeper immediately brought people to welcome them. Please forgive us for not welcoming you earlier as we did not know you were returning today, young Mississippi. Do pardon us. The housekeeper welcomed her respectfully. Emicham, the Blood Moon Elder nodded arrogantly. This is. The housekeeper instinctively looked at the beautiful young man beside Ouyang Qian. The Blood Moon Elder's face darkened immediately. Do I still need to tell you who I bring back? I don't dare. I've overstepped my line. You better not dare. Where's my FA, father? The Blood Moon Elder was a little awkward when he mentioned the word father. The Qin family's eldest young sir is here for a visit today. The family master is in the hall right now. Qin family's eldest young sir. The Blood Moon Elder was not very clear about the Qin family's eldest young sir and looked towards Yi Qingtang instinctively. However, a cold glint suddenly flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes. She only told the Blood Moon Elder about the relations of the people in the Ouyang family clan and forgot that Qin Chen existed. Qin Chen was the son of Qin Long, the current premier of the Nine Knights dynasty. Although the Nine Knights dynasty was controlled by the Nine Knights royals on the surface, the emperor suddenly became seriously ill a few years ago and could not preside the political affairs. As such, he had to pass his position on to his young son who was only 5 years old back then. The premier, Qin Long, was appointed as a supporting minister to help the new emperor in presiding over the political affairs. However, no matter how intelligent a 5-year-old kid was, he definitely did not have the ability to control the court. Although Qin Long was a premier, he secretly controlled most of the power in the Nine Knights dynasty with the excuse that the emperor was young, and he even cajoled the young emperor to fully believe in him. Currently, the Nine Knights dynasty was gradually descending into corruption and chaos, and this was mostly related to Qin Long's control. Qin Chen was Qin Long's only son and was very doted on by Qin Long. Moreover, Qin Long had planned to form a marriage alliance with the number 1 family clan, Ouyang family clan, and he thus wanted Qin Chen to interact more with Ouyang Qian. When Yi Qingtang knew Ouyang Qian back then, Ouyang Qian and Qin Chen were extremely close. From what she knew, when Ouyang Qian drugged her, it was Qin Chen who helped Ouyang Qian get the drug, and it was also him who told Ouyang Qian about Yi Qingtang's heart of the demon god. Yi Qingtang did not expect that he would actually bump into Qin Chen here. She secretly gave a look to the Blood Moon Elder for him to not act rashly, which he understood immediately. He told the housekeeper. "All right. You can retreat first. I'll just go to the hall myself later." The housekeeper did not dare to defy orders and obediently led the people away. Looking at his current stance where every word carried weight, the Blood Moon Elder was increasingly comfortable, seeming to return to his arrogance when he was in his peak back in the years. Now, it seemed that there were benefits in seizing Ouyang Qian's body. After all, the Ouyang family clan's position was not ordinary, and Ouyang Qian was deeply doted on by the Ouyang family clan master, Ouyang Jian. In the Nine Knights dynasty, it could be said that she could have anything she wanted. When the Ouyang family clan servants left, Yi Qingtang immediately notified the Blood Moon Elder of Qin Chen's identity, though she naturally hid the fact that Qin Chen wanted to seduce Ouyang Qian. Chapter 677, Ouyang Family Clan, 3. When you see Ouyang Jian later, just speak as how we planned earlier. Yi Qingtang told the Blood Moon Elder. As long as they could get past this stage, the Blood Moon Elder's identity as the Ouyang family clan's young miss would be solidified. After all, there were rare cases of possessing others' body. As long as the Blood Moon Elder did not expose himself, there should not be any problems. In the hall of the Ouyang family clan, Ouyang Jian was seated at the highest-ranking position. Although he was over 50 years old, he maintained his appearance well. He had a good-looking face, and there was not a single gray hair to be seen. "Oh. Qian is back." A smile suddenly broke out on Ouyang Jian's stoic face. He was extremely happy that his daughter returned safely. "Yes." The housekeeper replied honestly. After hearing that, a handsome man in the hall spoke immediately. "Miss Qian is a good person and is protected by the god." Uncle Ouyang was worried that Qian may meet with danger in this mystic realm. "Now that she has returned, your heart can finally be at ease." Ouyang Jian laughed. "Qian is stubborn. I originally did not wish for her to head to this mystic realm herself, but I could not convince her. Fortunately, she returned safely though. Since you happen to be here today as well, treat it as welcoming Qian back home." That handsome man was the current premier's son, Qin Chen. "That is of course." I haven't seen Qian for a long time as well. Qin Chen replied with a smile. As they spoke, two figures arrived in the hall. When Ouyang Jian saw the girl at the front, his eyes were immediately filled with a loving expression. Qian, you're back. When the Blood Moon Elder saw Ouyang Jian, who was beaming dotingly, he felt an infarction and could only force himself to reply. Fa. Father, I'm back. It's good that you're back. Why are you back alone? Where are the rest? Ouyang Jian looked behind the Blood Moon Elder. For this trip to the Mystic Realm, he specially arranged quite a number of people to accompany his daughter. However, apart from a foreign-looking young man behind her, there was not a single member from the Ouyang family clan. The Blood Moon Elder glanced at Yi Qingtang from the corner of his eyes. When he saw Yi Qingtang nodding at him discreetly, grief and indignation filled him. He took a deep breath and pinched his thigh hard without leaving a trace. The extreme pain that took over him forced 2 drops of tears out of his eyes. Right after that, he looked up at Ouyang Jian with a grieved expression. Father. Everyone died, what? The smile on Ouyang Jian's face froze instantly. That mystic realm was simply a trap. After we entered it, we realized that it was simply not an ordinary mystic realm but a 100-level peril hell of a Visinaraka. The danger level of it was simply unimaginable. Many of us died soon after entering the mystic realm. If not for the fact that I met Holy Young Sir Yi, my life would probably have ended in there, the Blood Moon Elder wailed as he pinched his thigh, brilliantly putting on the grieved expression. There's actually such a thing. Ouyang Jian's face darkened when he saw his precious daughter crying so pitifully. He immediately stood up and walked to the Blood Moon Elder, patting his back with a doting expression. Don't be afraid, Qian. Now that you're back home, no one can harm you anymore. Chapter 678, Ouyang Family Clan 4. The Blood Moon Elder was disgusted from being patted by Ouyang Jian but could only force himself to lean on his father's arm frailly in search for comfort. Ouyang Jian looked at his daughter in his arms with a frown. Then, he looked up at the beautiful young man who followed the Blood Moon Elder into the Ouyang family clan. However, at this instant, there was less affection and more sharpness in his eyes. I am Yi Qin, Yi Qingtang said in a dignified manner. May I know who your master is? Ouyang Jian asked cautiously. Although the Blood Moon Elder said that this young man was his benefactor, Ouyang Jian did not believe it easily. Given the Ouyang family clan's position, many people schemed to cling to them. Yi Qin was of dubious background, and no one knew what his motive of saving Ouyang Jian was. Yi Qingtang obviously knew what Ouyang Jian was thinking of. Ouyang Jian was a cautious and ruthless person. He only displayed a kind father's appearance to Ouyang Jian but was exceptionally fierce to others. I'm just an itinerant cultivator. Ouyang Jian's eyes sharpened. He had heard a thing or two about the 100-level peril hell of a Visinaraka before. The people whom the Ouyang family clan sent out this time were all at martial chi level 3 and above, and even Ouyang Jian was at martial chi level 3 herself. So many aces lost their lives in the hell of a Visinaraka, but how capable was this Yi Qin to be able to escape safely and even save his daughter? I've troubled you this time, young Sir Yi. Since you saved Qian, the Ouyang family will naturally not treat you badly. Afterward, Ouyang Jian turned around and spoke to the Blood Moon Elder. Qian, you were shocked and will need to recuperate. Someone retrieved the Lingua elixir for young Mississippi. The Blood Moon Elder's eyes brightened immediately upon hearing those 2 words. The Lingua pill was a miracle pill that could replenish one's chi and blood and nourish one's muscles and veins. It was a treasure that normal people could not even buy with money. Before the Blood Moon Elder returned to his senses, the housekeeper had already brought a bottle of Lingyue elixir and handed it to the Blood Moon Elder. "Qian, if you need anything, just tell me. I will not let you suffer ever again," Ouyang Jian said dearly. This time, the Blood Moon Elder did not find it disgusting at all. Looking at the bottle that was filled to the brim with Lingyue elixir and hearing Ouyang Jian's promise, his heart bloomed. How was Ouyang family clan's heritage? How plentiful were their treasures? Just by how Ouyang Jian pampered Ouyang Qian, he would thrive in the Ouyang family from now on. "Thank you, Father," the Blood Moon Elder said with a smile, saying "Father" smoothly and cleanly this time. "Qian, I didn't think that this trip would be so alarmingly dangerous. Just nice I have some Imperial Spirit pills. Do accept it too." Qin Chen, who had been silent throughout, suddenly stood up. He took out a few bottles of pills from his space ring and handed them to the Blood Moon Elder. Although the Imperial Spirit pill was not as precious as the Lingyue pill, it was extremely rare as well. With Yi Qingtang's earlier reminder, the Blood Moon Elder naturally recognized the man before him. However, to him, there was no such logic as rejecting a treasure that was sent right to his doorstep. "I'll accept it then." The Blood Moon Elder took those bottles of Imperial Spirit pill over from Qin Chen. In just a moment, he gained several bottles of precious elixirs and pills successively without even doing anything. The Blood Moon Elder was more than delighted. Chapter 679, Black Market, 1, wasn't it just being a woman? He would just go all out. Yi Qingtang looked at the blissful Blood Moon Elder and did not know whether to laugh or cry. She increasingly felt that her cheap brother must have been blind to let the Blood Moon Elder attain the position as an elder back then. Just as Yi Qingtang secretly chuckled, she suddenly felt a sharp gaze on her. She looked up discreetly but realized that Qin Chen was scanning her with a sharp and intense gaze. "Young Sir Yi, thank you for your help this time. I am Qin Chen, the son of the Nine Knights Dynasty's premier. If there's anything you need help with in the future, just let me know." When Qin Chen sensed Yi Qingtang's gaze, the sharpness in his eyes faded away quietly, and it was replaced with a dashing smile like that of a distinguished young sir. Yi Qingtang was wearing plain clothes which were made from relatively ordinary material and did not have any accessories on her. Compared to Qin Chen, who was donned in an elegant outfit, she naturally did not have a noble air to her. "You're too polite, young Sir Qin. I still have something on. I'm just sending Miss Ouyang back first today. Now that she has safely reached, I'll take my leave," Yi Qingtang said plainly. Hearing that Yi Qingtang was leaving, the Blood Moon Elder, who was initially gleeful over the treasures he just obtained, immediately looked up. "What? You're leaving now?" Although Yi Qingtang did tell him of the plan for the coming time, the Blood Moon Elder did not think that she would leave so quickly. Perhaps because he was a little anxious, there were traces of nervousness in his tone. However, that nervousness had a different meaning in Qin Chen's ears. Qin Chen narrowed his eyes secretly, sizing up the young man. Although that young man was wearing simple and plain clothes, his exquisite features were too striking, and even Qin Chen had rarely seen such a good-looking male. Qin Chen knew of his father's plan from a long time ago and had been deliberately creating opportunities to get closer to Ouyang Qian. He did not expect Yi Qin to appear out of nowhere. It should be known that not only was Yi Qin Ouyang Qian's life savior, he was also extremely handsome, and the two of them had been spending time together alone for some time before she returned. If Ouyang Qian's heart was really moved by Yi Qin, Qin Chen frowned secretly. No one was allowed to disrupt his plans. "Yes, Miss Ouyang. I still have things to do," Yi Qingtang said without emotions. Anyway, she saw that the Blood Moon Elder was completely into his new identity, and she did not need to worry at all. The Blood Moon Elder could not say anything further. Ouyang Jian was generous and ordered people to prepare many gifts of thanks for Enchanting, which she accepted all without declining. Her behavior put Ouyang Jian's mind slightly more at ease. Qin Chen did not say anything, merely observed Enchanting's every action, seeming to be thinking about something. "I'll take my leave then." Enchanting bade farewell to the Blood Moon Elder and brought the little white tiger out of the Ouyang family clan. As long as the Blood Moon Elder could maintain his identity in the Ouyang family clan, she believed that she could find out the origins of her jade pendant with the Ouyang family clan's influence in no time. That nagging woman is gone. My eardrums can finally have its peace and quietness. As the little white tiger watched Enchanting leaving the Ouyang family clan, it was very satisfied with the Blood Moon Elder's departure. Enchanting was speechless as she looked at the little white tiger, which was similarly talkative. After settling the Blood Moon Elder down, Enchanting was not in a hurry to head to Falling Sky Valley. While her original demonic blood sword was pretty good, it was insufficient when compared to her current skills. There was still quite an amount of Millennium Meteoric Iron in her space ring. If she could use these to forge a new sword, she would become even more powerful. At that thought, Enchanting headed to the underground black market in the Monarch City based on what she remembered from her previous life. That was a land of darkness concealed beneath the glamorous Monarch City. In the underground black market, there was nothing that could not be sold. Anyone familiar with the Monarch City knew that they had to head to the underground black market if they wished to obtain a truly good thing. In her previous life, Enchanting went to the underground black market with the eldest senior brother of Falling Sky Valley. It was the first time she saw the various transactions hidden in the dark. However, Enchanting's real objective of going to the underground black market was not to buy anything. She wanted to find a person. A blacksmith who lived in seclusion in the underground black market. The forging process for the Millennium Meteoric Iron was extremely complicated, and normal forging workshops did not have the conditions to forge it. No matter how skilled Enchanting's forgery was, if she did not have the tools, she could only look at it. Moreover, the Millennium Meteoric Iron was extremely precious, and Enchanting was unable to find it even in her previous life. Thus, she did not know how to use the Millennium Meteoric Iron. In her previous life, her master, Perfected Xianchen, had always wanted to forge a weapon with the Millennium Meteoric Iron. Thus, he even specially found a blacksmith who had been living in seclusion for a long time. That blacksmith was one of the few blacksmiths in the entire mainland that could forge a sword using Millennium Meteoric Iron. Enchanting was going to the underground black market to find the blacksmith and ask for his help to forge a new weapon. The entrance to the underground black market was extremely covert. If not an insider, it was impossible for anyone to find it. Moreover, anyone who entered the underground black market was required to pay the entrance fee regardless of whether they were buying anything inside. After paying the fee, Enchanting brought the little white tiger into the underground black market. The sun was ablaze in the Monarch City, but in the underground black market, it was rather dim and dusky, with only the flickering flames from the towering torches lighting this land of darkness hidden under the ground. This place is so smelly. The little white tiger wrinkled its nose the moment it entered the underground black market. Enchanting glimpsed at the little white tiger. In reality, there was no foul smell in this underground black market. Instead, due to the spices sold in the market, there was quite an interesting smell. I don't wish to stay here for long. It's too stinky. Hurry up and do what you want to do. The little white tiger was a little impatient. The smell of those spices did not have any use, and the little white tiger could still smell the stench of decomposed matter concealed beneath the aroma. Your nose is really sharper than a dog's. Enchanting chuckled. Of course. How can a dog's nose be compared to mine? The little white tiger lifted its chin. Did it really think she was complimenting him? Enchanting did not intend to waste any time and walked towards the place that her master in her previous life mentioned. There were messy stalls everywhere in the black market where all sorts of rare treasures were sold. Chapter 681, Black Market, 3, What is that? The little white tiger suddenly stopped walking. It saw from afar several shabbily dressed girls shivering in fear as they stood on a wooden stage. Surrounding the stage were numerous wooden cages that were as tall as a person, and many dejected males and females were locked in it. Enchanting stopped in her tracks slowly and looked in the direction that the little white tiger was looking at. When she saw the young girls whose limbs were chained, her brows furrowed automatically. The biggest difference between the underground black market and other places was the trafficking of slaves. Slave trafficking was forbidden in both Formidable Heaven's Dynasty and Nine Nights' Dynasty, though such prohibition was merely on the surface. In Nine Nights' Dynasty's underground black market, slave trafficking was still quietly carried out. Years ago, slave trafficking was completely prohibited in the Nine Nights' Dynasty. However, ever since the previous emperor was down with illness and the young emperor succeeded the position, this forbidden transaction started again. Although the masses never mentioned it, everyone knew that the slave trafficking in the Nine Nights Dynasty was controlled by the premier Qin Long in reality. Currently, Qin Long presided over political affairs, and the emperor was young and ignorant. Thus, no one could stop the trafficking of slaves. With Qin Long as their backer, the slave owners were emboldened, and the transaction of slaves was all the more carried out in the open. There were a few muscular men who each held a barbed leather whip standing on both sides of the stage with fierce and evil expressions. Their bulky bodies were a starking contrast from those shabby young ladies. Despair and horror were etched on the faces of those young ladies. They could only stick to each other while trembling, yet their fear was an admiration pleasure of the buyers who were below the wooden stage. The slave masters waved the leather whip every now and then, making a loud sound. Frightened, those young ladies were shocked to an ash-white shade as they shrieked and whimpered softly. However, their despair and horror attracted the laughter of the onlookers. These are the new arrivals just sent a few days ago. I promise that you all will not be disappointed. A big and fleshy male who stood on the wooden stage laughed as he looked down at the buyers below. As he spoke, he reached out and pulled a young girl over, completely ignoring her struggle and pleas. He ripped her tattered clothes apart, crushing her dignity, and exposed her before everyone. TSK. You humans actually have such a special hobby. The little white tiger understood what was happening already. Those girls and the people in the cage were being sold as a commodity by those fellows who were also humans. Enchanting's face darkened. In her previous life, when she came to the black market, she was mostly led by her other martial brothers, and they intentionally avoided the areas with slave trafficking. This was the first time Enchanting witnessed the scene of a slave trafficking. As the onlookers laughed, the girl who was dragged out cried at the top of her lungs. However, her tears did not bring any compassion and instead excited the buyers. Right at that instant, a male in luxurious clothes arrived in the crowd with a few followers. While that man was dressed gorgeously, his face was exceptionally hideous, and his twisted features seemed to have been burnt before. Chapter 682, Skin 1. Once the slave master on the wooden stage saw that male, he immediately rushed up eagerly. Young Sir Shangwan, what brings you here today? When the group of buyers noticed that male, they instinctively made way. The male before them was called Shangwan Rui. His father was the Nine Nights Dynasty's Dragon Tiger General and had a large number of troops under him. He was one of Qin Long's trusted subordinates and was regarded highly by Qin Long. Shangwan Rui was the only son of the Dragon Tiger General. Although he had an honorable identity, he was born with many flaws. Not only was his appearance extremely hideous, but he also had a nauseating smell on his body since birth. Because of his flaws and the fact that his father was a general who controlled a massive amount of troops, he could do anything he wanted in the entire Nine Knights dynasty, and even normal influential ministers had to give in to him. Shengguan Rui glanced at the slave master and then at the girls on the wooden stage who were barely clothed. An evil glint shone in his uneven eyes. I heard that there are quite a few new arrivals today. I'm here to take a look. Yes, yes, yes. They all came not long ago and are all inexperienced. Do take a look, young Sir Shengguan. The slave master responded obsequiously with an arched back as he rubbed his hands. Shengguan Rui nodded slightly and walked up to the wooden stage with his guards. He stood before those trembling girls frivolously and looked at those terrified girls as though he was scanning through livestock. When he saw the girl whose clothes was torn by the slave master previously, his brows were raised slightly. He stretched a hand out and grabbed on the girl's hair as she was looking down, forcing her to look up. It was a fair and exquisite face. Her pretty facial features were filled with fear and despair. Large teardrops slipped out from the corner of her eyes as she trembled in fear. Her looks are not bad. Shengguan Rui took a glance of that girl and subsequently nodded at the slave master. The slave master immediately followed him and laughed. We brought this girl from the eastern region. She is quite young. Just 15. Please. Let me go. I beg you. The girl whose hair was tugged on by Shengguan Rui trembled in fear. Her tears were like jewels from a broken pearl necklace that dripped down continuously. This beauty is really good-looking when she cries. Shengguan Rui narrowed his eyes. As he looked at her terrified behavior, his twisted lips suddenly curled up, and he pulled the girl closer. Don't be afraid. I will not harm you. Don't worry. Am I not here to save you now? Shengguan Rui's voice was extremely soft, but there was something blood-curdling in his tone. On top of his unusually ugly face, such close distance caused the girl to be even more frightened. Yet in this despair, the girl seemed to have a straw to clutch at when she heard Shengguan Rui and looked at him imploringly with eyes wide open. Will you really save me? Of course. You're so good-looking. How can I bear for you to suffer here? Shengguan Rui's smile was increasingly sinister. You just need to listen obediently, and I will not harm you. Understand? The girl nodded staggeringly. However, just as she thought she seemed to have found a straw to clutch at, a cold glint suddenly flashed across Shengguan Rui's eyes. He raised his hand and threw that girl to his followers. Skin her. Chapter 683 Skin 2 What? The girl did not dare to believe what she just heard as she landed in the hands of those followers. Those followers received the orders immediately and held the girl. The girl simply had no time to react. All she saw was that a man had already walked to her with a flaying knife in his hands. The sharp blade slit her soft skin open, and blinding red blood spouted out immediately. How do you do things? Shengguan Rui frowned suddenly. She is too noisy. Pluck her tongue out first. Yes. A horrifying wail rang throughout the black market loudly. A bloody tongue was plucked out from the girl's mouth. A raspy and distorted scream was forced out from her lungs, but the people who grabbed her did not release their grip at all. The flaying knife touched the girl's skin, slowly skinning the warm human skin off from her body. In just the blink of an eye, the girl who initially had a gentle and beautiful appearance had turned into a skinless bloody human, while the beautiful skin was handed directly to Shengguan Rui. As Shengguan Rui looked at the beautiful skin that was dripping with blood and still had a lingering warmth, a twisted smile immediately emerged on his hideous face. Satisfied with the outcome, he gently rubbed it against his cheeks to feel the lingering warmth. An intoxicated expression filled his face. Indeed. A girl's skin is still the smoothest and most tender. Keep it and bring it back. After processing it, place it in my beauty pavilion. Shangguan Rui took a deep breath of the bloody smell and subsequently threw the beautiful skin to his subordinates. The intense smell of blood filled the surroundings. The buyers who were initially interested in buying female slaves were horrified by Shangguan Rui's violent methods. When they saw the skinless girl who collapsed on the ground, their hearts could not stop quivering. Shangguan Rui was born ugly. He had a strange smell and a few defects on his body. In addition, his father pampered him a lot. Thus, his personality was exceptionally twisted and violent. Shangguan Rui's greatest hobby was to collect the skin of the beauties in the world. Moreover, it was by skinning the beauties alive, and the skin would be stored after processing it. He even specially built a beauty pavilion in his residence which was used just to store his collections. The regulars in the black market were already no stranger to this. If those girls who were waiting to be sold were in despair and fear previously, when they saw their previous companion being skinned alive, only an insane fear remained in their hearts. They would at most be humiliated if no one bought them, but if they landed in Shangguan Rui's hand, it would be worse than death. The skinned person would not die immediately, but without the protection of skin, as long as anything came into contact with the wounds, it would cause heart-wrenching pain. This torture was 100 times more miserable than death. At this moment, those girls were already frightened out of their wits. They even pleaded for someone to buy them away quickly as they were unwilling to land into Shangguan Rui's monstrous hands no matter what. However, who dared to snatch with Shangguan Rui? The buyers at the side had already retreated to a side quietly. Even if they witnessed everything, no one dared to utter a word. Shangguan Rui's eyes landed right on the remaining girls on the wooden stage. Chapter 684, Skin 3, I want these few too. What other fresh stocks do you have? Just bring them all up. Don't bring some unpresentable ones to fool me, or I'll remove your skin. Shangguan Rui scoffed coldly and looked at the slave master. His words threw those girls into utter despair. A chill ran down the slave master's spine as he said hurriedly, yes, yes, yes. I'll go look for you right now. Then, the slave master immediately led a few people towards the other cages as the girls on the stage were kidnapped away by Shangguan Rui's followers. A girl looked directly at the wealthy businessman who wanted to buy her and pleaded. I beg you. Please buy me. I'm willing to do anything. Please. I beg you. However, that wealthy businessman did not dare to say anything at all. Although he did fancy this girl's beauty, he did not dare to snatch with Shangguan Rui no matter how bold he was. He fled hurriedly under the girl's pleas. While the wealthy businessman had his eye on the girl's appearance and wanted to buy her, he completely dropped that thought with Shangguan Rui here. Weighing his priorities between women and his life, the wealthy businessman obviously could distinguish which was more important. When the girls saw the wealthy businessman leaving the place, expressions of despair filled that girl's face, and her body shook violently. More people gathered in the surrounding, wanting to watch the fun. In this black market, those with money and power were the bosses. No one could dream of overstepping this rule. This was especially so for Shangguan Rui, a regular in the black market. He had an extremely bad reputation in the monarch city and committed all sorts of crimes, yet he had extremely powerful forces behind him, so no one dared to offend him at all. Although those slave masters found it a pity when their goods were destroyed like this, they did not dare to utter a word in front of Shangguan Rui. Why? Anyone wants to snatch with me? A cold glint flickered in Shangguan Rui's eyes as he glanced at the wealthy businessmen in the surroundings. However, everyone whose Shangguan Rui's eyes swept across lowered their heads successively, not daring to speak. In this monarch city, they and even sect disciples usually did not dare to casually offend people of Shangguan Rui's level. Ha ha ha, young Sir Shangguan, you call the shots in this city. Who would dare to snatch with you? That's right. Unless someone doesn't want his life anymore and dares to snatch these slaves with young Sir Shangguan. Many onlookers chimed in and laughed immediately. People in the black market were more or less clear of Shangguan Rui's style and no longer found it strange. Moreover, it was only a few slaves, and the onlookers had never seen them as humans in the first place. Shangguan Rui was in a good mood after hearing what everyone said and nodded in satisfaction. He scoffed coldly. It can't be said that way. This black market has its rules. I'm someone who respects rules fully. If anyone wishes to bid, I am happy to compete fairly. However, it's a little risky to compete with me. After hearing what Shangguan Rui meant, those wealthy businessmen who initially wanted to compete gritted their teeth and eventually did not dare to say anything. What a joke. Do you think you can dictate things here in the monarch city? At this moment, a young man in white scoffed and walked out from the crowd in great strides. Everyone was astounded and could not help but size up that young man. Rest assured, ladies. I am definitely taking care of this matter today. The young man shot a look at Shangguan Rui and then told the girls in the cage. Please, young sir. Save us from here. I'm willing to be a slave for you. A girl hurriedly spoke. However, before the young man said anything, the slave master took large steps forward and said, Brother, you aren't a citizen here, are you? So what if I'm not? The young man said. Ha! The slave master shook his head and laughed. Brother, it's better if you don't stand up for them. This young Sir Shangguan Rui's father is the Dragon Tiger General of 9 Knights Dynasty. What? After hearing that, the young man was appalled, and he looked at the hideous Shangguan Rui in surprise. The Dragon Tiger General had the most influence in the 9 Knights Dynasty. He had many armies under him and was a trusted subordinate of the current premier, Qin Long. Why? You want to snatch with me? Shangguan Rui looked at the young man with interest. After knowing of Shangguan Rui's identity, the young man broke out in a cold sweat, and he hurriedly said, Young Sir Shangguan. This is a misunderstanding. If it was anyone else, the young man would not have bothered and still dared to contend. However, he was facing the son of the Dragon Tiger General, and there was no way would he dare to offend him. Oh. Shangguan Rui looked at the young man with a teasing expression. You don't wish to compete with me anymore. Young Sir Shangguan. This is a misunderstanding. I've never thought of snatching with you. The young man immediately made clear his stance, deeply afraid that Shangguan Rui would continue to misunderstand him. Misunderstanding. Shangguan Rui scoffed coldly. How boring is that? As he spoke, he looked at the guard beside him and said emotionlessly, Where's the knife? The guard immediately took out a gleaming dagger without saying anything and handed it to Shangguan Rui. Shangguan Rui received the dagger and walked towards that young man with a harmless smile. The young man was a little nervous at the sight. Swoosh! In the next second, the dagger in Shangguan Rui's hand was stuck into the man's stomach instantly. Arr! In just a moment, blood surged out and dyed the young man's white clothes crimson. The young man screamed in agony. His face turned white, and large beads of sweat dripped down from his forehead. It was as though the unbearable pain wanted to consume him entirely. That fellow was really reckless and actually dared to provoke young Sir Shangguan. TSK. An outsider did not know the situation and casually stood up for the slaves in the black market. He was really courting death. The onlookers scoffed coldly. In their eyes, Shangguan Rui's stab perfectly avoided the vital organs, making it seem like he only wanted to torture this young man. Oh. I'm really sorry. I injured you by accident. This is a misunderstanding. You won't mind, right? A sinister expression emerged on Shangguan Rui's hideous face. Misunderstanding. Young Sir Shangguan. Spare my life. The young man withstood the pain and pleaded for mercy desperately. However, in the next second, the dagger in Shangguan Rui's hand stirred crazily in the young man's stomach. The young man died there and then almost instantly. Shangguan Rui then kneeled down to remove the dagger from the man's stomach and measured the young man's neck. Before everyone returned to their senses, the dagger waved, and he immediately slit the young man's neck. Large gushes of blood spouted out from the young man's neck and spattered all over Shangguan Rui's face. A cold glint twinkled in Shangguan Rui's eyes as he grabbed the young man's head and started to cut the neck area with the dagger. Chapter 686, Yuan Returning Stone, 1. In just a moment, the young man's head was entirely chopped off by Shangguan Rui. How ugly! Shangguan Rui lifted the young man's head in the air and inspected it clearly as though he was admiring a piece of art. However, Shangguan Rui did not seem to be very satisfied with this artwork and tossed it on the ground disinterestedly. Then, he lifted his right leg and stepped on the young man's head. The young man's head was crushed by Shangguan Rui, and red and white liquid spattered everywhere. The onlookers exchanged a few looks when they saw it. Shangguan Rui was really ruthless. After witnessing Shangguan Rui's brutality, the girls in the cage shrieked. Clean it. After cleaning the dirt off his shoes, Shangguan Rui looked at the slave master. Yes. I'll clean it immediately. The slave master nodded repeatedly and ordered someone to clear the unbearable sight that was the young man's corpse. For outsiders like them, provoking the other party without knowing their identity was mostly courting death. Before long, the young man's corpse was cleared, and the remains on the ground were cleaned. Enchanting had already walked to the wooden stage with the little white tiger. Her eyes darkened slightly as she watched the bloody scene. At that instant, the girls in the cages were filled with despair and trembled in fear. This one is not bad. I want it. Shangguan Rui regained interest and grinned at a girl with long, blue hair. Ha ha. Young Sir Shangguan, you really have a good eye. This girl is a supreme grade slave. We caught her at the external frontiers of the sea outside Nine Nights Dynasty. Very quickly, the blue-haired girl was brought out from the cage by the slave master. Someone save me. Expressions of despair filled the blue-haired girl's face as she looked at the crowd helplessly. However, the place was silent, and people only looked at each other indifferently. No one would offend people like Shangguan Rui over a slave, and the young man from before was a lesson learned. There were many beauties in the world, and there was no need to risk their lives to fight for one. I have a Yuan returning stone. Whoever can save me, I will gift him the Yuan returning stone. I'm begging you all. Please. The girl knelt on the ground with tears streaming down her face. Yuan returning stone. The onlookers looked at each other. The Yuan returning stone was a rare stone that could refine weapons, but it was not a main material and could not increase a cultivator's skills. It was a type of energy stone that did not have many uses to a cultivator despite being extremely rare. Fuck. Yuan returning stone. The little white tiger suddenly peeked its head out of Enchanting's arms and scanned the surroundings. Soul returning stone. Where's it? Where's it? Many people near Enchanting looked at the little white tiger immediately. An orange-colored tiger cub appeared before everyone's eyes. Enchanting shot a look at the little white tiger. She clearly told it not to come out for nothing. Spirit animal. Several cultivators were amazed as they looked at the little orange tiger in Enchanting's arm. The supposed spirit animal was completely different from a demonic beast. Demonic beasts kill by nature and had a murderous air, while spirit animals were humane, and some could even speak the human language, though such cases were extremely rare. However, while spirit animals were rare, it was not to the extent that its appearance could shock one. In the Nine Knights dynasty, the number of forces which possessed spirit animals was not a small number either. It was said that the Falling Sky Valley in the Nine Knights dynasty had a big black dog that could speak, and it was also one of the few spirit animals that existed. Another example was the Ouyang family clan, the number 1 family clan in the Nine Knights dynasty, which possessed a golden crow that could speak. "Brother, is this little yellow dragon a spirit animal? Where did you get it from? Are you interested to make a deal?" A rather skilled cultivator asked Enchanting. "I'm not selling," Enchanting said. After hearing that cultivator saw that Enchanting was foreign-looking and did not seem to be someone from a big force from the Nine Knights dynasty. "Little brother, I'm Zhou Fu, a member of the Zhou family clan in the Nine Knights dynasty. Are you sure you're unwilling to make this deal with me?" Enchanting heard something about the Zhou family clan in her previous life as well. It was a second-tier force in the Nine Knights dynasty and was about the same as Xianling sect and Wind Moon sect in the formidable Heavens dynasty. "Fuck you. What do you treat me as? Am I someone you can buy just because you want to?" The little white tiger glared at Zhou Fu and shouted angrily. A trace of fury appeared on Zhou Fu's face when he heard the spirit animal scolding him. "I'm talking to your owner. Was it ever your turn to speak?" Enchanting looked at Zhou Fu coldly. "What my spirit animal said is what I want to say." "What did you say?" Zhou Fu's eyes flickered. Enchanting looked away from Zhou Fu, ignoring his desires, and spoke to her little white tiger. "You're interested in the Yuan returning stone?" "Yes. The Yuan returning stone contains the heaven and earth energy. It is useless to human cultivators, but it's extremely useful to me." The little white tiger nodded repeatedly as its big, round eyes were filled with longing. "Since you have a request, I'll help you to obtain it." Enchanting smiled faintly. Her eyes were icy as she swept a look at the arrogant Shangwan Rui discreetly. Then, Enchanting walked towards the slave master in great strides. At that instant, Shangwan Rui looked at the blue-haired girl with interest. Truly a supreme grade. How nice-smelling. Shangwan Rui lifted the girl's blue hair to near his nose and reveled in its smell. "Quick! Give me the knife. Faster!" Shangwan Rui could not contain his excitement and said to that indifferent guard. Very quickly, the guard took a long knife out and handed it to Shangwan Rui. "I'm begging you. Let me go." As though she felt death approaching her, fear was etched on the blue-haired girl's face when she saw Shangwan Rui walking towards her with a long knife in hand. The brutality and terror of Shangwan Rui skinning someone alive earlier on were still vivid in her mind. "Ha!" Shangwan Rui laughed. "Don't fail to appreciate my favor. Being able to be hung in my beauty pavilion is an honor of your many lifetimes." After saying that, the long knife in his hands moved, about to stab into the blue-haired girl's body. "I want this woman." At that moment, Enchanting's indifferent voice echoed around the place. Everyone was stunned to hear that and looked around the crowd instinctively. A beautiful young man in white slowly walked out with a feather fan in his hand. Another person courting death. Tisk tsk. There are really quite a few people courting death today. When they saw that a beautiful young man wanted to snatch the blue-haired girl with Shangwan Rui, everyone laughed coldly as they waited for a good show. Zhou Fu scoffed. It seemed that he did not need to take any action anymore. Then, Shengguan Rui placed the long knife down and inspected Yi Qingtang with interest. Chapter 688, Yuan Returning Stone, 3, Brother. You aren't a citizen here, are you? The slave master could not help but have a headache when he saw another person here to court death. That's right. Yi Qingtang nodded her head. Ha! Brother, do you know that this is young Sir Shengguan Rui, the son of 9 Knights Dynasty's Dragon Tiger General? The slave master said. What? Dragon Tiger General? Shock filled Yi Qingtang's face after hearing the slave master. Before everyone could mock Yi Qingtang after seeing her expression, she said disdainfully, so what? This blue-haired girl is destined to belong to me. Yi Qingtang walked up and stood in front of the blue-haired girl. Ignoring everyone's gaze, she smiled and asked, do you really have the Yuan Returning Stone? I have the Yuan Returning Stone. The blue-haired girl nodded repeatedly. Good. Since that's the case, you are mine. Yi Qingtang's lips curled up into a smile. The slave master waved a hand rather impatiently. This slave is already confirmed by young Sir Shengguan Rui. Confirmed by him. Yi Qingtang scoffed. This black market has its rules. That fellow has not paid, so it does not count. Young Sir Shengguan. The slave master looked at Shengguan Rui. Ha! The black market, of course, has its rules. A sinister smile played on Shengguan Rui's lips. Let's see what his financial capability is then. After saying that, Yi Qingtang took out a yellow-grade long sword from her space ring and threw it on the ground directly. Is this enough? A yellow-grade weapon. Everyone at the scene exchanged a look. A yellow-grade weapon was extremely precious. To ordinary sects, some elite disciples could not even obtain it after working hard for years. Seeing that the slave master remained silent, Yi Qingtang took out a bundle of weapons from her space ring and tossed it on the ground nonchalantly. Is this enough? There were 10 weapons in that one bundle. Too many sect disciples died in the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm, and Yi Qingtang picked up dozens of weapons on her way. Currently, yellow-grade weapons were not very useful to her anymore. 11 yellow-grade weapons. The slave master looked at Yi Qingtang in surprise. What was this fellow's background for him to be able to throw 11 yellow-grade weapons out so casually? The onlookers were similarly astounded. Young Sir Shengguan, look. The slave master was extremely tempted after seeing Yi Qingtang's 11 yellow-grade weapons. Not mentioning one slave, even 100 slaves were not worth these 11 yellow-grade weapons. I'll give you one more. This slave is mine. Then, the corner of Yi Qingtang's lips curled up slightly as she retrieved a supreme yellow-grade weapon from her space ring. Supreme grade. The slave master's heart palpitated wildly. A supreme yellow-grade weapon. A weapon that could weigh against dozens of ordinary yellow-grade weapon. Yi Qingtang also had quite a few weapons of similar grade in her space ring which were all obtained from the hell of Avicenaraka mystic realm. There was no reluctance in throwing a few swords out. Young Sir Shengguan. How about? The slave master looked at Shengguan Rui and laughed. Ah, let her to him then, Shengguan Rui said. The slave master thanked him repeatedly and hurriedly kept all the weapons that Yi Qingtang threw on the ground. Brother, she is yours, the slave master said to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang nodded and was about to leave with the blue-haired girl. However, right at that instant, Shengguan Rui suddenly blocked Yi Qingtang's way with a menacing smile on his face. Chapter 689, So what if I slap you? 1. Is there anything you need? Enchanting glanced at Shangguan Rue indifferently. Ha! Shangguan Rue laughed coldly as he sized up Enchanting with an evil intention. We have gone through the black market's rules. Shouldn't we talk about my rules next? Your rules. Enchanting arched a brow slightly. Tell me about it. A trace of insanity flashed across Shangguan Rui's eyes, and he turned to look at his guard. Where's the knife? The guard walked up quickly and, once again, handed Shangguan Rue the dagger which was used to chop the young man's head. My rules. Do you wish to know? Shangguan Rue received the dagger and narrowed his eyes at Enchanting. His scarlet and foul tongue licked his dry lips. In the next second, a ferocious expression appeared on his face as he stabbed towards Enchanting's stomach with the dagger. In everyone's eyes, this sight was, however, extremely normal. Everyone had already expected this outcome. An outsider who offended Shangguan Rue was destined to have such an outcome. Pow! A clear sound suddenly rang. That beautiful young man who held a folding fan actually held Shangguan Rui's left hand that held the dagger was in, with the sharp tip of the dagger stopping just half a finger away from the beautiful young man's stomach. The onlookers and the surrounding gasped at Enchanting's actions. This fellow actually dared to retaliate. An outsider actually countered young Sir Shangguan. Is he not afraid that his entire family would have to suffer the wrath of young Sir Shangguan? Humph. What an ignorant fool. He would have been the only one who would die, but now that he countered, he has brought death to his entire clan. The young man from earlier was much more powerful than Shangguan Rue, but he still did not dare to fight back until death, in fear that he would implicate his family. Shangguan Rui's father was the Dragon Tiger General and the Premier Qin Long's trusted subordinate. Anyone who offended Shangguan Rue would face a terrifying outcome, and this was something that everyone in the Monarch City knew. Many years ago, someone could not see eye to eye with Shangguan Rui's brutality and fought back, but in the end, not only was that person put to death by dismembering the body, but his entire clan was also annihilated because of this. Shangguan Rue did not think that Enchanting would dare to retaliate as well and was taken aback. When he returned to his senses, he looked up slowly and stared right at the emotionless Enchanting. Shangguan Rui's lips curled up slightly, and a berserk smile suddenly appeared on his hideous face. Good. Really good. This is so interesting. Ha ha ha. I want your clan to be completely annihilated. Completely annihilated. That savage laugh reverberated throughout the black market, and many onlookers shook their heads secretly. This beautiful young man might have implicated his entire clan already. Oh. Enchanting looked at the enraged Shangguan Rue indifferently without panicking. Without waiting for Shangguan Rue to speak, she suddenly raised her right palm. In the next second, Enchanting's right palm waved and flashed by before everyone's eyes like a bolt of lightning. Pow! A clear sound echoed in the scene. Silence, a deadly silence, everyone was completely dumbstruck, and their jaws hung wide open after this clear sound rang. Enchanting's right hand had actually slapped Shangguan Rui's ugly face. Was this beautiful young man crazy? He actually slapped Shangguan Rue. Still complete annihilation. A faint smile slowly appeared on Enchanting's handsome face as she watched the dumbfounded Shangguan Rue. You. Shangguan Rue was slightly stunned, but the stinging pain on his cheeks reminded him of everything that happened a while ago. When he returned to his senses, he glared at Enchanting furiously. Son of a bitch. How dare you hit me? I want you to die without a place to be buried. I want to chop off your head and dig out your eyes. Oh. Enchanting looked at the enraged Shangguan Rue with interest. Without waiting for Shangguan Rui to continue cursing at her, Enchanting suddenly raised her hand again. Pow! Before everyone's eyes, Enchanting slapped Shangguan Rui's cheeks heavily once again. Within seconds, a few handprints emerged on Shangguan Rui's face. Never had Shangguan Rui dreamed that he would suffer 2 consecutive slaps. He glared at Enchanting with bloodshot eyes before shouting sternly to the indifferent guard behind him. Kill! Kill him! Kill this son of a bitch! Noted. The indifferent guard nodded. In the next second, a martial chi level 3 First Heaven aura emerged around the guard and completely enshrouded Enchanting. Everyone was taken aback after sensing the indifferent guard's aura. Martial Chi Level 3, First Heaven. This person's skills are actually so scary. He has already surpassed the elite disciples of super sects. This person is Shangguan Rui's martial teacher and is also his personal bodyguard. He is one of the Dragon Tiger General's trusted subordinates. That foreigner fellow will definitely die without a doubt. Everyone was extremely shocked after sensing the indifferent guard's martial chi level 3 First Heaven aura. Die! With a shout, a powerful martial aura immediately erupted out from that guard like a jet, and his palm ran towards Enchanting. However, when his palm was less than 3 inches away from Enchanting, the little white tiger in Enchanting's arm suddenly spouted out a trail of white flame. What? Sensing the force of destruction in this flame, the indifferent guard was alarmed. It was already too late for him to dodge. Arr! The indifferent guard let out a miserable cry as he burned into ashes after being hit by the white flame. Fuck you. You must be seeking death. How dare you think of attacking me? The little white tiger said furiously. Enchanting looked blankly at the little white tiger. He wanted to attack me just now. Enchanting reminded the little white tiger. Oh. Fuck. He didn't say it earlier. Whatever though. I said that I would be responsible for you. I will protect you. The little white tiger grinned at Enchanting. After absorbing large amounts of evil aura in the hell of a Visinaraka mystic realm, the little white tiger's infant body currently had the combat power of a human at the 2nd heaven of martial chi level 3, and it could easily kill a mere martial chi level 3 first heaven cultivator. Such a powerful spirit animal. It killed a martial chi level 3 first heaven in an instant. I was thinking why that fellow was so fearless. So it's because he has such a powerful spirit animal as his backing. The ignorant are fearless. He dares to act like this just by relying on one spirit animal. The Dragon Tiger General should have already received news of this. Well, just watch how he dies later. In the crowd, Zhou Fu's eyes twinkled as he stared at the little white tiger in Enchanting's arms. If he could obtain that spirit animal, you're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.